In 413 BC, the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta entered a new phase. After the disastrous Athenian expedition to Sicily, the balance of power shifted. Sparta, seeing an opportunity to defeat Athens, sought new forms of pressure. Persia, formerly an enemy of both, changed its policy. It did not support Sparta out of affinity, but out of interest. Athens controlled Greek cities in Asia Minor, which Persia wished to regain. Darius II, the great Persian king, saw in Sparta the opportunity to weaken Athens and regain his influence in these cities. The satrap Tissaphernes negotiated with Sparta. In exchange for military and logistical support, Sparta would return the Ionian cities to Persia after defeating Athens. Persian intervention was cautious at first, sending small amounts of money to Sparta, but in time, Persia financed the construction of a Spartan fleet, a weak point of Sparta until then. Although it was a land power, with Persian help, Sparta was able to take on the Athenian navy at sea. For Athens, this represented a serious threat. Its naval supremacy had been key to maintaining its empire and supply lines. Now Sparta was contesting control of the Aegean, with ships financed by Persia. Athenian naval defeats multiplied, increasing the economic pressure on Athens, which was already suffering from the Spartan occupation of Decelea. Persian money was not only used to build ships, but also to pay crews and maintain the war. The better equipped Spartan crews could fight longer. Athens tried to maintain control of the sea, but defeats and internal pressure affected its ability to continue. Persian intervention was decisive. Persia not only provided material resources, but kept Sparta focused on the war. The Spartans, previously reluctant to prolonged campaigns, were motivated by financial support and the possibility of ultimate victory. With each step Persia took in favor of Sparta, Athens grew weaker. In 413 BC, Sparta fortified Decelea, a strategic position 20 kilometers north of Athens, proposed by Alcibiades, an exiled Athenian. This direct occupation of Attica cut off supply routes and weakened the Athenian economy. The Spartans devastated crops and cut off access to the silver mines of Laurium, Athens' main source of income. Athens' situation, already weakened by the expedition to Sicily, worsened. The population took refuge inside the walls, causing overcrowding and food shortages. Thousands of slaves defected to the Spartan camp, further weakening the Athenian economy. The fortification of Decelea not only attacked the Athenian economy, but also its morale. The city, though protected by walls, was becoming strangled by occupation. With each passing day, Athens grew weaker, and its ability to resist diminished. Battles at sea became an unexpected challenge for Athens. With Persian money, Sparta was able to build a sizable fleet, something it had failed to do in the early years of the war. Despite their lack of experience, the Spartans began to compete with Athens in the Aegean. Athens tried to maintain its control of the sea, knowing that much of its power depended on its fleet. At first, their ships were superior and could stand up to Sparta, but gradually they began to lose ground. Sparta, with its new fleet financed by Persia, managed to win some important battles. Each Spartan victory weakened the Athenian forces, not only at sea but also on land, as Athens' allies began to question their ability to lead. One of the most significant battles was that of Notio in 406 BC. There, the Spartans, led by Lysander, managed to defeat the Athenian fleet. This battle was a heavy blow to Athens. Although it was not the first time they had lost a naval battle, it was a clear indication that their dominance over the sea was in danger. The defeat at Notio caused a change in their allies' perception of Athens' power. Several cities, which had previously paid tribute and depended on Athens for protection, began to look to Sparta for support. In addition to the military loss, this situation severely affected Athens' economy. Cities that rebelled stopped paying tribute, which meant fewer resources to maintain the war. In turn, trade routes, which had been dominated by Athenian ships for years, began to collapse. Athens could no longer protect them effectively. which affected its ability to sustain its economy in the war. As Sparta continued to strengthen its fleet, Athens found itself trapped in an increasingly complicated situation. Defeats at sea meant fewer resources, fewer ships, and fewer allies. Internally, the Athenian people began to lose faith in their leaders. The war, which had already lasted many years, was becoming more costly and seemed increasingly difficult to win. Sparta, with the support of Persia, continued to advance. The situation worsened for Athens, which could no longer count on the naval power that had given it such an advantage at the beginning of the war. Control of the sea, so vital to their survival, was slipping from their grasp. Alcibiades was a man who seemed to be at the center of everything, both in Athens and Sparta. Of noble birth and with great charisma, Alcibiades knew how to get noticed and gain the trust of those around him. However, his ambition and impulsive behavior brought him into conflict with Athenian society. After becoming accused of sacrilege, he feared for his life, and before facing trial, fled to Sparta, where he found a new place to demonstrate his political and military prowess. In Sparta, Alcibiades did not remain a mere exile. On the contrary, he quickly gained the confidence of the Spartan leadership and began to offer them valuable advice. It was he who suggested occupying Decelea, a move that weakened Athens and ushered in a new phase in the war. Although some Spartans distrusted him because of his past in Athens, Alcibiades managed to gain an important place in their court, helping to plan key strategies against their ancient city. However, his relationship with Sparta was not long-lasting either. Rumors of an affair with the wife of King Aegeus put him in danger, and again he had to flee, this time seeking refuge in Persia. Alcibiades knew how to adapt and used his time in Persia to stay relevant in the Greek conflicts. There, he worked with the satrap Tissaphernes, negotiating and offering his services to maintain his influence in both Sparta and Athens. His ability to move between sides and survive in difficult situations was impressive. Alcibiades, having betrayed Athens and spent time in Sparta, found himself with no fixed place to belong. His relationship with the Spartans, which had started well thanks to his strategic advice, ended up deteriorating. Alcibiades, fearful for his safety and well-being, decided to escape before the Spartans eliminated him, seeking refuge in Persia. During his time in Persia, Alcibiades allied himself with the satrap Tissaphernes, who offered him asylum. There he tried to play a double game, helping the Persians, but also maintaining ties with Athens. However, as the war continued, Athens was losing more and more strength, and his return began to look like a viable option, especially after a series of Spartan defeats on the Hellespont. In Athens, the situation was desperate. Constant defeats, loss of allies, and financial pressure were suffocating the city. It was in this context that the Athenians began to consider bringing back Alcibiades. Although he had betrayed his city, many saw in him a last hope for reversing the course of the war. Alcibiades, always ready to seize any opportunity, accepted the offer to return. In 408 BC, he was received in Athens as a hero. His return was almost triumphant, for many believed that he was the person who could save Athens from disaster. Alcibiades, now commander of the Athenian fleet, wasted no time and sprang into action. In a short time, he achieved a series of naval victories, which boosted the morale of the Athenians and restored some hope to them. Alcibiades took the opportunity to recapture some cities that had defected from the Athenian alliance, which strengthened his prestige and power in the city. During his brief time in command, Alcibiades continued to win important victories for Athens. His strategic ability was undeniable, and the battles he won gave the Athenians a breathing space during the war. However, confidence in him was never full. Alcibiades was a controversial figure, marked by his ambitions and his constant changes of sides. Alcibiades' downfall began when, during one of his absences, his fleet suffered a significant defeat at the Battle of Decelea in 406 BC. Although he was not present during the battle, Alcibiades was primarily responsible, as he had left his subordinate Antiochus in command, who disobeyed orders and ended up losing the battle. This defeat, although it was not decisive in military terms, was decisive in political terms for Alcibiades. His enemies in Athens took the opportunity to remove him from office and blame him for the defeat. Stripped of his command, and with few options in Athens, Alcibiades decided to go into exile again, this time to a private estate in Thrace. There he lived for a time in relative calm, away from the chaos of the war that continued in Greece. However, his exile would not last forever. The Spartans, who had never forgotten his treachery, kept a close eye on his movements. In 404 BC, with the war almost over and Athens on the brink of defeat, Alcibiades was assassinated. The exact circumstances of his death are a matter of debate, but it is believed to have been ordered by the satrap Pharnabazo under pressure from the Spartans. Alcibiades died as he lived, surrounded by intrigue and betrayal, never finding a safe place to call home. Thank you for watching this video and joining us until the end. What follows in this story will bring unexpected challenges at sea, difficult decisions, and key moments for